I think we can all agree on the fact that dating can be a bit scary. You put yourself out there with the chance of getting rejected, and dating is also really time consuming and it costs money and it can be emotionally draining. So, dating can be challenging for everyone, but if you struggle with social interactions, then it can even be more intimidating. And because of this, some people even avoid dating at all. So, in this video, I want to share some tips when it comes to dating when you feel just a little bit nervous or awkward or intimidated, which is completely fine. Okay, the first tip is that you have to remember that when you start dating and you feel socially awkward or you feel nervous or you have trouble connecting with someone because of that, it doesn't mean that you're unlovable or that you are unable of forming any connections with someone. It simply means that you're just a little bit more uncomfortable or a little bit more socially awkward in certain social situations. Try to kind of embrace that awkwardness. And I know this is really hard and really difficult, but a lot of people really appreciate the fact that you come across as real and unique. And also, I noticed that when people are a bit socially awkward, I personally think they sometimes come across as more genuine than people who come across like really confident when I first meet them. So I think the key here is that you have to try to embrace that part of you and see it as a unique part of you and as an asset instead of something that you have to hide. Okay, and the second tip is that when you go out on a first date and you feel nervous, then it's a good idea to go do something. And I've had a couple of dates where the first date we just sat across from each other at a table at some kind of bar. And it really depends on the person. In some situations, I felt really comfortable with the other person, so it was completely fine. But also sometimes I felt a bit nervous, or the other person, I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling my best or feeling really comfortable. And then I didn't like the fact that I was kind of stuck sitting at a table, sitting across from someone else that I didn't really know, and it felt too intimidating. What I like to do for the first date is just do something that's a little bit more low key. So go for a walk, getting a coffee. So I also like, for example, going to a museum or doing some kind of fun activity together, but try to find something to do that's not really just you and the other person just sitting across from each other, looking into each other's eyes. When you're dating, rejection is kind of part of the deal. And I remember that when I started dating, rejection was just the worst case scenario for me. I really, really hated it. I still don't like it, of course. Being rejected sucks in general, but I do know that my mindset on this changed a little bit. I do notice now that I can take it a little bit less personal than I did in the beginning. In the beginning, when I got rejected after a date, I really took it personally, and I thought of all the things that I did wrong, or that I wasn't, funny enough or pretty enough, or that I was lacking something. And now I really try to see it as something that's it's not really personal. It feels personal though, I know that. Because you go out on a date and you try to present your best self, and then the other person just says to you, okay, I don't want to see you anymore, or I don't want to continue dating, and that sucks and it hurts and it doesn't feel good. But you have to remember that the other person doesn't really know you as a person. It's just sometimes a feeling that's missing. And that's completely fine, because we also know that when we are dating someone, then sometimes the feeling is also missing, and there's nothing wrong with the other person. The person is great or awesome or not so great. That's also possible, of course, but it's not something that's really a personal thing that you really dislike them as a person. It's just sometimes this romantic connection that's missing, and we have to deal with that, and we have to learn to not take it as a personal thing. So the next tip is that you shouldn't try to put too much pressure on yourself when you're starting dating. So don't try to, be perfect in any way, or look perfect, or be the most perfect version of yourself, but try to see it as a chance of letting the other person see what you are as a person. And that is the whole goal also of dating, not to be your most perfect you or your most perfect version out there. You want to see if there's a match between you and the other person, and it only works if you show your true self instead of you trying to make up something that's not really you. I think this kind of reduces the pressure in dating. Also, don't put too much pressure on the other person. So don't think that the other person must be the man or the woman of your dreams, and that he or she must be the most perfect person out there who checks all the boxes. That's also too much pressure for someone else. Yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself or on the other person when you just started dating. So if you are really, really nervous when you go out on a date, it could be an idea to discuss it with your date. And you don't have to discuss it in person if that even makes you more nervous, but you can maybe text it beforehand or talk about it beforehand, that dating can be really scary for you and that you feel nervous when you start dating. And I think when you just talk about it and discuss it, it kind of reduces the pressure a little bit. And maybe the other person also recognizes this feeling and also feels a little bit nervous. And then it even becomes this shared thing between the two of you, that you both feel just a little bit nervous. And I think it could help, like, to discuss it and to make it a topic that you can just talk about. So remember that dating really does become easier when you do it more often. So I remember that when I first started dating, that I felt super nervous, and I felt nervous even a week before I had the date. And now it becomes better. So it even is so that I feel a little bit nervous on the day off. And then when I start to get ready, for example, then I notice that I'm getting a little bit more nervous. But it's not that I'm nervous like days before. So it does become easier, and you do become more comfortable in dating and knowing what to expect and the kind of questions you want to ask. And it's just, you have to kind of practice it, with dating. So remember that when you do it more often, it really does become easier. And the last tip I wanted to share is that when you see dating as just a fun process and a process of meeting different people, of learning new people, of doing a lot of new things you haven't done before, then I think it's possible to even enjoy the process of dating. It can be a fun journey, and it can be a process where you learn also a lot about yourself. Okay, so these were some of the tips that I wanted to share when it comes to dating and when you feel a little bit scared or nervous or socially awkward. I think it's something that we all go through. Some people are just maybe more confident in dating than the other person, but that's completely fine. And I think it's really worth it to put yourself out there and don't hide yourself because you think dating is scary. I think it would be a shame if you let it stop you from dating. So if you don't date at all because you think it's too scary or you're just too nervous. So I really hope that you don't let the awkwardness or the social anxiety or the nervousness stop you in your dating process, and you're just worth it to put yourself out there. So this is it for today, and I hope I'll see you next time again.